Glitter Goddesses, how are you this afternoon or morning or evening or whatever time it is where you are now? I hope you're doing well. It's party time. We are going to start a new series today. We're doing a mystery show and we're going to start a new series today. So, I have a friend who's going to have a baby in December, and I need to make a baby album for her. Well, I don't, need to, like I need air, but I would like to make a baby album for her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a twist on my Easy 6x8 mini album. And if you have access to my video archives, link in the description, then you can go to the classroom folder and you can see the original version of this, and I'm going to twist it up. Oh, it's Canadian Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Canada. Enjoy your turkey. That's right. I don't work outside my house anymore, so I totally forgot it was Canadian Thanksgiving. Because it's the same day as Columbus Day here in the U.S., but people don't really care about Columbus Day anymore. So, like, I think my sister had to work today, and Mr. Lifeguard's working today, so, but it's useful for reminding me when it's Canadian Thanksgiving if I see someone mention it. So... All right. So on my desk here, I have the bank was closed, of course. They're the only people who care, the banks. On my desk, I have the Stampin Up Scoreboard. This thing is $30, FYIZs, which I felt was a lot. But I've talked before about how if you don't have a Michaels anywhere near you, you need a scoreboard, you want one as similar to the Martha one as possible, you can get this one if you have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, or you can go to the website and they'll find a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for you. So, this one is the most similar to the Martha. It's more constructed than the Martha. There's some choices that I don't know that I but they probably did, so they wouldn't get sued by Martha. It's on an angle. There you can see. It's on an angle. It doesn't need to be on an angle. Oh, and if you have a Tuesday morning, but you don't have a Michaels, the Martha board is $14.99 at Tuesday mornings. And now one benefit is that it does come with a stylus instead of a bone folder. I do appreciate a stylus. That was a little hard to get out. I'm not gonna lie. And then this drawer sucks. Okay, so this drawer holds pegs. This drawer holds pegs. So if you're going to be scoring the same thing over and over and over and over again, this drawer holds these pegs, and what you do is you put the pegs where you're going to be doing your scoring, so you don't have to keep thinking about it. So, like, you're going to score it. Ugh, this was not made for people with nails. 1 inch, yeah. Man, if you had to score at 8ths, this would be kind of tough. There we go. And then we're going to do 7 3/4. Those are the measurements I'm going to use today. So I'm going to see if I can figure out an alternative way to store this. What I probably will do is just keep the pegs in my tool bag that I always have right next to me. It's off camera. You can't see it, but you can see its shadow right here. But I always have I have a tool bag here. It's actually from a company called Bucket Oh, wow. I just was going to like lift it up and bring it over, but it has so many tools in it that I almost dislocated my shoulder on account of my being weak. So what I may do is just keep the pegs in my tool bag so I don't have to deal with this crappy drawer. So that being said, those would be the weaknesses. The drawer being crappy would be its primary weakness. All right. So I'm going to be using this baby paper right here. The Simple Stories Hello Baby paper pad, which is from my stash, Ancient. And so we need to pick a cardstock to use for this. And let's go straight to yellow, because I don't know if the baby is a boy or a girl. So we'll just use this. What's this? Honey. Let's just use honey. We'll just use honey. It'll be cute. We'll use honey. All right. So I'm not going to talk about the original design of this book too much, other than to say it's a jumping off point for this one. I'm just doing a twist on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 pages. And then I need 3 additional pages for 5x7 pinwheels. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to set them aside elsewhere. And then I'll put this cardstock back on its little rack. All right, so the original 6x8 mini album, you took a piece of cardstock and you folded it and it turned it into a 6x8 page. This one, we're not going to do it that way. I'm going to cut all of these at 8 inches. So that I have an 8x12 inch piece of paper and a 4x12 inch piece of paper. And then we're going to score it. And I'm going to use the infinity binding. Well, this is not the album that Fran posted yesterday. Exactly, because Fran posted an album and I was like, I should make one of those for my friend who's having a baby because that would be really fast. And then I was like, well, I could, or like I could throw one together quietly in the privacy of my room really quickly. I said, or I could do a twist and turn it into a YouTube series. So I chose B. So kind of, it was inspired by, but it will not be the same as. So there you go. Because why would I just leave well enough alone? When have I ever left well enough alone? Ask yourselves that question. Say, when has Kathryn ever just done what was easy, done what was sensible? The answer is never. Never. So again, these are 12 pages. So I've taken 12 pieces of cardstock. We're going to make 12 pages. That's why I took the time to put the little pegs in the piece. In the scoreboard, so that I don't have to look. I can just go boom, 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 score them all in the same place. And I will tell you where we're going to score. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to score these pages so that they have the infinity binding. They're going to be infinity binding incorporated into the page. So the style where it's all one piece, flap, gutter, page sticking all the way up. You saw with Come Fly With Me, the Flight 2719 paper. That's where it was used most recently, that style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score all of them at 1 inch. Okay. And 1¼ inches, because I'm doing 12 pages. I'm doing one for each month, so I don't want like so many. And then we're going to do 6½ plus 1¼ because I want the page itself to be 6½. Got it? So it's going to be 6½ by 8. And then what we're going to do is I need to just add 1¼ plus 6½ That's 7¾ so that's 7¾ And then I'm hoping that what's left over is, what's left over is 4¼ so a photo can go here as well. All right, you get it. So it's a very good, you're gonna get the, here, I'll just show you really quickly how it's gonna be scored. So, and you need one of these for every page. One of these for every page. So this is how it's going to look. Okay. So, well, actually we're going to bend this. All right, so we need to do that last score in the opposite direction. All right, so you've got this thing that looks like a check mark, sort of. This is what will get attached to the page in front, to the front cover. Here's the gutter that gives it breathing room. Here's the page itself, so it looks like this in your book. Then you turn the page, and on the back, you have this 4¼ inch flap. So, voila, voila, voila. That is how it looks. So we're going to make 12 of these, and then we need to make one extra flap to stick it to the back cover. So I'll just be scoring right along. So we need to do the 1 and 1¼ Ew, this one jumps too, just like the, just like the Martha. Okay, and then flip it end over end like this, and then do this one. All right, so while I'm doing this, scoring all of these, so this will be the first part of the series. We'll be sticking all these together as a page. So easy peasy mini album. All right. I'm thinking it can get done, you know, pretty much you can just sit down and do it, decorating and everything. We'll see how well I do. But I think we'll get a lot accomplished with it. I think we'll get a lot accomplished. This paper collection, while I am using the version that was printed by Simple Stories for like Michael's or Joann's or one of those big box stores, maybe Hobby Lobby, I don't remember where I bought it. But, because it came in a paper pad. However, Simple Stories papers are available digitally from Simple Stories website. So if you like this paper and you need to make a baby album, then you can download it and print it at home. Yeah, I just I just scored right in between the two pegs. Like I don't know. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Even with a peg to remind me, I still mess it up. So there you go. What can you do? Other things you could use this for are December daily, if you still need to make a December daily album. Anything where you have a lot of 4x6 cards in the collection, this will work really well for. And we are doing the same thing over. Yes, I'm making a baby album. I'm making a 12-month baby journal. It's going to have a place to store some memorabilia as well. And I'm using a paper that's available digitally. So if you like the paper I'm using, even though it's an older collection, it is available digitally if you want to have it printed. And remember, you do not need a fancy printer like I have to have a digital paper printed. You can have your local print shop do it, and usually the price is very reasonable. Don't go to like Staples or one of them. Go to like a local family-owned smaller business and talk to them, and they'll help you out. Okay, so those are the pages. So here's the first one. So now there's only one more thing we need to do, which is we need to make a 2 1/4 inch strip by 8 inches, which is the height of the book. Now, if you wanted to get even more photos on this, instead of making it 8, you could make it 8 7/8. If you guys, 8 7/8 is what you need to get 2 4x6 photos on one sheet. So the last piece is 2 1/4 inches wide, and I'm just using those first 2 score lines. All right, so now I'm going to put this whole thing together, but first I'm going to remove my pegs so I don't lose them. Oh man, this was not meant for someone with nails. All right, I'm going to tell you what the paper collection is again, just here in 1 second. I'll give you the name of it. I think it's Simple Stories Hello Baby, but I'm not 100. I'm not 100 about it. All right, so I like having long nails, and it's easier for me to maintain long nails because my nails grow very quickly, so just letting them grow is a lot easier than keeping them short. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put it in this bag with where I keep replacement blades and stuff, so that I don't have to worry about dealing with that drawer. All right. So for now, I'm going to set this aside. And then we're going to fold along all the score lines in burnish or fat slab. Where's the baby collection? Here it is. This is what I'm using. Simple Stories Hello Baby. I like it because there's a card for each month. There's 1 through 12 cards where you can put the baby's growth and weight and all of that. So it's a very nice thing you can just give to someone. It's easy for them to use. And the Simple Stories papers lend themselves very well to this particular style of album because they have a lot of 4x6 cards. That's what you want in this book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and score them all one way first, and then I'll go back and score them all the other way. This is a good album to assembly line as well, because you're often doing the same thing over and over again with this book, which makes it very quick and easy to complete. So albums where you can just do all the pages, do the same thing, where you can do the same activity over and over again, are great for gifts. And albums like this one, which are geared towards 4x6 photos exclusively and have pockets for memorabilia, make great gifts in general because it's easy for your friend to put their photos in it, especially if they're not a crafter, because all they need to do is print their photos. When you're scoring, you want to fold away from the indentation that you made with your scoring tool so that the indentation forms the outside of the score. It seems kind of opposite what you would think, but that is the way you do it. All right, so once they've all been scored one way, we're going to flip them over and score them all the other way. All right, so going to make a little stack here. And this paper cardstock base that I'm using is the color Made Smooth and Silky in the color Honey. And so assembly, assembly, assembly. And we'll just see how much of this album we can get done in like 2 hours. I'll make this a series. We'll work on it again. By the way, if you're wondering where the Cayenne Dorian pocket is, I'm going to do that in November because we are going to take my Thanksgiving Gratitude place card album and we're going to do a mashup of it with the Dorian pocket. Well, you'll need 1 sheet of cardstock per page, and then you'll need an additional sheet of cardstock for every 4 pages you have in the book. So if you have 12 pages, you'll need 3 more sheets. So if you have 12 pages, you'll need 12 sheets plus 3 sheets. So whatever your final page number is, in my case 12, divide that by 4 and then add whatever that second number is. So 12 plus 4 in my case is 16, so I need 16. That's how many I need. So you can easily do this with 1 pack of cardstock. And I'm doing 12 sheets because I'm going to do 1 for every month of the baby's first year. So we're doing a baby's first year album. And I'm incorporating the spine into the page itself. So there's no additional pages for the spine. The spine is part of the page. Almost done. I am not going to put these together quite yet because I want to add a pocket to each page. So before I add the pocket, or before I glue them together, I'm going to add the pocket because it's easier to add pockets while it's still... Yes, Susan, I did do this spine system in the Say Cheese from Simple Stories album, which is called Twice the Fun. That's the name of it. All right, all our pages are done, plus our extra spine piece. All right, so we've got that stack. So that's already finished. So now what's next? Next is we're gonna make a pocket to go on the front of each one that's 4.5 by 6.5. And we're gonna use the 5x7 pinwheel to do it, because we're going to take that 5x7 pinwheel and score it at a 1/2 inch on both short sides and 1 long side, and that'll make it 4.5 by 6.5. So we can utilize the 5x7 pinwheel to get 4 pockets out of each sheet. That's why you need to divide this stack by 4, because 4 is how many you can get out of each sheet. If you want to be even more conservative with your paper, however, what you can do is you can take these 4-inch by 12-inch strips that are left over, and you can use them to make pockets by cutting them 4x7, and then your pockets would just be like 3.5 by 6.5 instead of 4.5 by 6.5. I'm not going to do that. The reason I'm not going to do that is because in this collection, where you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the month growth cards are 4x6. So I want to put one on the front of every pocket. So each page is going to have a pocket with a growth chart on it that the mom can stick whatever in, and then on the back we'll have room for photos, journaling, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so there you go. So that's why I'm not using these scraps specifically for mine. But if you didn't have a real clear purpose for what you're going to put on the front of that pocket, you could easily use these strips, which are they're 4x12, cut them to 4x7 and score them 1/2 inch on both short sides and one long side, same as I'm going to do. And you would just have a 3.5 inch pocket. It's fine. Whatever you want to do. Whichever way works for what you need to do with your book. So this spine is called the Infinity Binding. And it's used in most of my projects. With the exception now I have a new binding called the Split Decision Binding, which is currently in use in only the Split Decision album, but technically any book could be retrofitted with a Split Decision binding. Any book. So the way the 5x7 pinwheel works is you put your paper at 5 and you cut up to 5, and a 5x7 card falls off the corner. Priya says this looks like a super fast project. Yes, I think it's going to be very fast. I think it's going to be very, very fast. I think that'll make it great for a few things. Gifts, of course, like I said already. But also, if you need an entry into #GlitterParty2019, link in the video description to that as well. Then this would be something you could easily throw together in an afternoon, and you could link to this playlist once this playlist is up. So once I have a playlist for this. Last one. And what #GlitterParty2019 is I'm giving away a Rotatrim or $200 depending on your circumstances. And I'm going to announce the winner on Black Friday, which is November 30th, I believe, or November 29th or something like that. Thanksgiving's really late this year. Decorating is where most of the time is spent, but this album, as you'll see, has relatively limited decorating space, and you'll see that. Okay, so I've got my stack of 12 5x7 cards. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna score them, and I'm gonna use this purple guy. Let's see how it works. Let's just try all the, see, this is where where I'm already, not to like hate on this before I've used it, but it can't go all the way to the top. Ooh, the score line is so nice on this one. Wow. Wow, I really... Okay, so maybe I can learn to live with it. So what I'm doing is I'm marking the 1/2 inch lines and the 1 inch lines. So because I can't stick this at the top and the numbers are kind of hard to read, this will help me see which lines I need to be in. And if I end up giving this one away to whoever gets it, you're welcome. You don't have to draw the lines in yourself. I did it for you already. All right. I'm just gonna fan it a little bit, just to dry the Sharpie just a little bit. See, now I can easily see where the 1/2 inch mark is. Oh, I jumped the track. Oh well. Yeah, this one's a lot harder to use. A lot harder to use. I'm gonna say no on this one. The way it is at the top, I think I really just have a problem with that. I feel like it's taking me a lot longer to score because of it. I do like the score line though. The way it feels, the way it looks, very crisp. And I feel like I'm solidly in the track, but you know, there's only so much I can live with. Hello, Flo. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm throwing in the towel on this one. All right. Sorry, Crafter's Companion. Can't do it. Can't do it. All right, so I'm scoring this on the 7-inch side at 1/2 an inch and 6.5 inches. And then, wait. Is that gonna make it? What is that gonna make it? That's gonna make it 6 inches. I want it to be 6.5 inches. I'm gonna have to score them at 1/4 of an inch. Oof. How do I want to deal with this? I'm having a math fail. Let me think. How do I want to deal with this? Okay. The way I'm going to deal with it is I'm only going to score it at 6.5 inches. And on the 5-inch side, I'm only going to score it at 4.5 inches. We're going to have an open pocket. So all the ones that already got scored, I'm just going to run over that first score line with my bone folder and burnish it out. All right, so, and that's what I'm going to do. All right, so and they're all going to be scored in this bottom right corner. And because I'm covering these with my cards, I'm not that worried about, you know, how it looks, because you're not going to see it really. As my card's going to pretty much be covering it. All right, last one to fix. See how it just kind of flattens it out, takes it away a little bit. All right, so the rest of these are only going to get scored at 6.5 inches. 6.5 and 4.5. That makes more sense. When you twist it, make sure you put the score line at the top. Is it close to canary? No, this is more mellow, I think. Let me grab the canary so you can see it. I know there's some canary in here, right? Yeah, this is much more mellow. This is more of a buttery color, and this is more of a lemony color. All right. Luckily, I knew exactly where I had a sample of canary. So remember, turn it so the score line is at the top when you turn it. That way they'll all be in the same corner. And then we'll get these all stuck down on their pages. And then we'll start talking about how we're going to decorate. Now, my intention with this book is for this not really to be a huge album with a record of all the photos of this baby that are taken, yada, yada, yada. This is where you, she's going to take one, nice portrait, one or two nice portraits of the baby, her two or three favorite photos, put them in the book, record the growth, add any relevant memorabilia she really wants to save, and create a record, right? So it's going to be smaller. It's not going to be like this huge, massive thing with room for hundreds and hundreds of photos. But she just had a baby. She doesn't need a chore, you know what I mean? Well, she hasn't had the baby yet. The baby's due at the end of December, I think. So now we're going to fold along all the score lines and burnish or fat slab. And then we're going to add these two-sided pockets to our book. And as I'm thinking about these pockets, these two-sided pockets, and what maybe I want to do, I'm like trying to think of how I could use those scraps, those that I haven't used, like maybe to make some kind of closure, add an extra photo, something like that. Especially just a little extra something to hold stuff in these pockets, maybe. I'm gonna ponder it. I'm gonna ponder it. Because it would be good if we could use those scraps too and add another little fun flap or something. But we are certainly going to have a cute book one way or another, whether we use those strips or not. All right. So these are ready. So this is where it's going to go. This pocket. Right here. Okay. So we're going to put that 4x6 card here that's going to tell her what month this is. And then she'll have room in here to stick her stuff. And because the pocket's open on one side, she can kind of like jam stuff in, you know what I mean? So, okay, great. So before I stick this down, we're going to do some decorating. Because I believe I already cut out all the 1 month cards, all the monthly cards. Yeah, here they are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink them and stick them to a piece of white cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 so that they look like a photo mat. And we're going to stick them right down. I'm going to use brush corduroy because this very light brown kind of crafty color works with a lot of papers. And just in case I do add a flap, I'm going to stick one of my tin caps underneath this so that if I need a magnet, the magnet has something to stick to, but she can easily write over a tin cap, whereas she can't necessarily easily write over a magnet. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. This will be super simple. And again, doing this all while it's still detached will make it a lot easier for me. And because I have such a clear plan for what I'm doing, it's easy for me to assembly line this in this fashion. Where, you know, if I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, it'd be a lot harder. So, I'm going to add photo mats. Yeah, I think I'm going to toss 3 photo mats in the pockets. Maybe. So that if she wants to add additional photos, she can. Like, it'll be obvious that's how she does it. You know what I mean? But other than that, I don't think I'm going to add a lot to the pockets because she needs a space for memorabilia. You know, anything she wants to save. But I think this is, you know, this is a good way to go for someone who's not particularly crafty. Because it's easy for me to include a note with this book when I send it up that says, okay, here's, you know, here's what you do. You make your record, take a couple cute, really nice portraits, stick them to the photo mats with the tape that I've included, and I'll include a roll of Miracle tape. So that she doesn't have to go out and find her own tape. And you're all good. You know, stick what you want to keep in the pockets. And this doesn't have to be, you don't have to think of it as like 100%. This is where I would add memorabilia. Because you know, you could just stick additional photos in, whatever. However, it does make a good album for memorabilia because of these pockets. So does the original. Just a reminder that if you want to see the original version of this, which is even simpler, but you do need a binding machine, so it does not use the infinity binding, then that is in the classroom folder in the archives, in the classroom folder. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, once I finish this particular strip, I think I'll do a recording break. It's a little bit easier for me to upload to YouTube, and I have fewer problems if the videos are like a half an hour instead of like 3 hours. You dusted off your Bind It All last week? Well, then this is the perfect project for that, or the original is. But you could do this one, Bind It All, as well. You just leave off this part. Just leave off this part. Remember, we're going to stick a metal cap under these so we can add a closure if we want. All right, so in the next video, we'll show you how to put these all in your book. So that'll be in part 2 of this series. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video in this series.